Today marks the third anniversary of my relationship with Shen. When I open the chat box, the last message was sent by me 3 days ago. I slightly furrow my brows. This doesn't bode well. Based on my past dating experiences, he has either cheated or come out as gay. On the table lies the pair of wedding rings that were just delivered this morning and designed by myself. I sigh and decide to go and see him in person. After all, a 3-year relationship indicates that I'm truly satisfied with this romance. However, I never expected to witness such an absurd scene. Xiaoqing is pretty, but she's too clingy. It's a bit annoying. I still prefer independent and assertive women. As he said this, he swirled his wine glass, then suddenly looked up and met the gaze of Lu Ruyan, who was sitting upright beside him. In this dimly lit private room, the glances of the two seemed to be intertwined. The several men beside them exchanged knowing smiles and made jokes. "Oh, you like someone like Secretary Lu." Lu Ruyan maintained a proper smile and stole a cautious glance at him. After seeing that he didn't refute, her face turned red uncontrollably, and a good-natured laugh rang out in the private room. Someone even spoke their true feelings after drinking. Shen is still so sentimental. In my opinion, that kind of unrefined doting wife is just for fun. What about the first cup of milk tea in autumn, and the first chestnut in winter? They're childish and cheap. Shen took a sip of wine, and didn't speak in agreement. Because what I want is not just these. I also desire the latest luxury bags, high-end customized dresses, and expensive perfumes each season. What surprises me is not only my boyfriend, who has been extremely gentle to me, but also his frivolous and harsh tone as he pours out his grievances to his friends. Moreover, there are rows of unexpected bullet comments suddenly appearing in front of me. So sweet. Ever since that accidental kiss, the atmosphere between the male and female protagonists has changed. This is a story of two strong people, and that doting wife, the female supporting character, is about to be out of the picture. In fact, she's not even a female supporting character. She's just a background character at most. Soon the male protagonist will break up with her. The only impression of her is that her childhood dream was actually to be a doting wife. So disgusting. In a sense, she has indeed strived to achieve her dream. Wow, you guys with these crazy bullet comments are so funny. Anyway, she's still the legitimate girlfriend. These two strong people are nothing but a cheating man and a mistress. Looking at these baffling bullet comments, I fall into deep thought. It seems that I'm probably a cannon fodder in a romance novel. A tool person who, after fulfilling their function, has to make way for the female protagonist. They even gave me a nickname, doting wife. Instead of getting angry, I laugh because what the bullet comments say is true. My childhood dream was to be a doting wife, and it remains unchanged. The first time I heard the term doting wife was in kindergarten. My deskmate told me, "Your mother is a doting wife." I asked curiously what it meant. My deskmate shook their head. During the parents' meeting, both my parents came. My father was so afraid that my mother would be hungry or thirsty that he got up early in the morning to make a lunch box and squeeze juice. He held me in one arm, held my mother's hand with the other, and also carried her bag on his arm. The aunts all said they envied my mother. Little did I know what a doting wife was, but I knew what envy was. So I came to a conclusion. A doting wife is someone to be envied. After returning home, I excitedly told my mother, "I want to be a doting wife like you." My mother and father exchanged a surprised look. After understanding the whole story, her smile became even gentler. She stroked my hair. Okay, then you have to learn from mom. When Xiaoqing grows up, she will definitely do better than mom. But they didn't get to see me grow up. I lower my eyes, and a look of sadness flashes by. However, the bullet comments are in a collective frenzy. Look, Xiaoqing. Goodness, now this doting wife must be on the verge of collapse. Ha ha ha. I bet she'll cry, make a scene, and threaten to commit suicide, begging the male protagonist not to leave. Yeah, how can a doting wife live without a man? Isn't this killing her? Overestimating herself, and trying to make things difficult for the female protagonist, but ended up ruining herself. So laughable. Here's a suggestion for her. Don't humiliate yourself. Since you like being a doting wife so much, go back and find a man to marry. My gaze lingers on this bullet comment for 2 seconds, and the figure of a certain man with broad shoulders and a narrow waist suddenly appears in my mind. The blind date partner highly recommended to me by Grandma Suzuki. My grandparents have doted on me since I was a child. After my parents died in a car accident, they treated me like the apple of their eye. Because of my astonishing childhood dream, they have been extremely strict and picky about my dating partners. Those previous disastrous ex-boyfriends were all found out by them. So a man who can pass their scrutiny after background checks must be good. Suzuki has an excellent resume. He returned from studying at Stanford to inherit the family business. His appearance is impeccable, and his private life is clean. Or rather, his love history is like a blank sheet of paper. Since the elders of the two families are on good terms, we exchanged contact information. But it was only limited to liking each other's posts on Moments. What impressed me deeply was what he said to me during our first meeting. "Miss Xiao, if you ever consider getting married, please do think of me." After a moment of brief shock, I couldn't help but laugh at his tense and cold face. He's probably also a poor kid who's been pressured by his family to get married, and is questioning life. After weighing the pros and cons, I find that the suggestion in the bullet comments is really a good one. Since 3 years of being obedient and gentle may all be an illusion, why don't I find a blank sheet of paper and color it with the colors I like? I resolutely dialed his number. There was a momentary stunned silence on the other end. "Miss Xiao." I let out a soft laugh. "How about getting married? Isn't this what you want?" He really seemed anxious. In the evening, we moved into our new home, a well-prepared villa on the hillside. After taking a shower, I leaned against the headboard, admiring the newly obtained marriage certificate. I was one step closer to becoming a doting wife. Moments later, Suzuki knocked and entered. I lifted my eyelids and sized him up. Standing over 1.85 meters tall, his facial lines were exquisitely smooth, and his features were impeccably handsome. The silver-framed glasses and the gray silk bathrobe complemented each other, revealing his refined and abstinent demeanor. Under my unreserved gaze, his entire body tensed up, making one wonder what kind of muscular and veined physique lay beneath the bathrobe. Although, this man is truly exceptional. I just want to ask, how eager to get married is this doting wife? Just because she has no money, no ability, and no job, she's just waiting to be dumped? No, if she could find such a man so easily, how can you still think she has no ability? Wow. If it were me, I'd marry him too. Aunt Lu said you should have a cup of warm milk before going to bed. Aunt Lu and Uncle Zhang were the aunt and the butler who had watched me grow up. During my study abroad, they even accompanied me to take care of my daily life. In fact, they were ordered to supervise me to prevent me from being deceived by the sweet words of those foreign men. They were quite shocked when they learned about my marriage. After knowing that my new husband was Suzuki, they happily helped me pack and came along. Throughout the night, they gave him a training session on being a good husband, and the cup of warm milk was one of the results. I reached out to take it, and as if by accident, my fingers brushed against his. A few drops of milk spilled out. Suzuki didn't even dare to look at me, because I was wearing a lace camisole nightgown that was blindingly white. After cleaning up the mess, he fled in a hurry. He turned around as if he wanted to run. I called out to him leisurely, "Have you taken a shower?" "Yes." It seemed that he was afraid of being too cold, so he tried to feign nonchalance and added, "I'm done." I drawled. "Then where are you going?" Suzuki paused. "I'm going to the second bedroom." "Stop." His back stiffened, and he instinctively came to a halt. I remember our prenuptial agreement was only about property, not a marriage in name only, right? As I said this, I sat up and gently hooked his calf with my foot. At this moment, Suzuki was as stiff as a stone statue. It took him a long time to come to his senses. He inevitably developed some tender feelings for me, and his voice softened. "Then where else are you going, my husband, Suzuki?" He slowly turned around, and the flesh on his ears spread to his entire neck. "It's too soon. We can take it slow." I stood up, kissed his lips, and wrapped my slender white arms around his neck, smiling charmingly. "Husband, you're not incapable, are you? Is this the charm of a doting wife?" Half of my body went limp. Dreams have no distinction of nobility or humility. I support Ching in being a doting wife. A man can't admit to being unable. Right now, immediately. Whatever the situation is, turn it around for me. Facts have proved that a man who has been single for 26 years really can't resist being flirted with. It was like an old house on fire, getting out of control. There were fine beads of sweat of restraint on his forehead, and he soothed me in a low voice, as if he knew how to do it instinctively. Seeing the gentle bulge on the side of his neck, which combined strength and beauty, my intention to stop faded away. "It's okay. Come on." I stroked his smooth hair as a reward. The next moment, a thrilling kiss landed. Our breaths intertwined closely, and sobs escaped from our lips, and were all swallowed up by him. What does black screen mean? How dare you? I'm a Junguida super VIP. Just show me this. I admit it. I was a bit loud outside just now. Sister, I beg you. Let me see it. Those who haven't scolded Xiaoqing have defeated 99% of people. After the meeting, I asked Uncle Zhang to drive me to the ancestral house. Even though they were satisfied with my marriage partner, getting married in a flash still needed an explanation. My uncle sent me a message complaining that he had been scolded all night, and then gloated, telling me to fend for myself. At this moment, the bullet comments scrolled wildly. What on earth is Xiaoqing's background? The company boss even bows and scrapes to her. It wasn't mentioned in the book either. Why does her schedule seem busier than the male protagonists? She started working on the second day of her marriage. What kind of job do you have that you don't even have a weekend? It seems that I was indeed just a background character in the book. Besides serving as a lubricant between the male and female protagonists, there was no other description of me. In a way, I could indeed not work and just be a doting wife at home. After all, with a huge fortune in my hands and the shares left by my mother, it was enough for me to squander for a lifetime. But the first rule of being a doting wife that my mother taught me was that economic foundation determines a man's attitude towards you. No matter when and where, you must have a skill and a career that can support you. Shin was able to treat me the same way for 3 years, not because I, Xiaoqing, was particularly charming, but because we were evenly matched. He gave me Hermes bags, Givenchy perfumes and expensive jewelry. I also reciprocated with a car perfume of Acqua di Parma, a Hermes belt, and a million-level Rolex Submariner watch. Unconditional doting is against human nature. Everything in the world emphasizes balance. Only by clearly laying out each other's efforts on the table can the two parties get along without psychological burdens. In addition, my mother also made me study the marriage law thoroughly. After getting married, I should use the weapon of the law to protect my own interests. My parents were both lawyers, and they never shied away from letting me understand the dark side of marriage. A series of terrifying cases such as cheating wives, defrauding insurance and transferring property, and being involved in debts were my bedtime readings. Under the influence of these, I developed a sensitivity to human nature and property, as well as ways to deal with them. I can choose not to work, but I can't lack the ability to survive. So I chose to become a venture capitalist, using the idle money in my hands to invest in startup teams and entrepreneurial projects with high growth potential to achieve wealth growth. The working hours are flexible, and I can balance both family and career, which is very suitable for the development plan of a doting wife. Those who are engaged in related work among the bullet comments have already thoughtfully started to explain and popularize the knowledge. Sister, invest in me. I'll run home when it rains, and I can pee by myself. I have great potential. Fight to the death. How can a doting wife like her understand investment? It's just for show. You actually believe it. To be fair, she not only understands it, but is also very professional. She hits the nail on the head when pointing out problems. Stop arguing. I think it's hilarious that her husband got up early in the morning to make dumplings for her. Seeing this, the corner of my mouth twitched slightly, and I looked at Uncle Zhang with a headache. You guys have gone too far. How can you ask someone to make dumplings? He was up almost until dawn last night. Where does he get the energy? Uncle Zhang showed a kind smile. It was the husband who wanted to learn. We couldn't stop him. Seeing how affectionate you two are, Aunt Lu and I are relieved. Just thinking of the way he blushed and fled in a hurry, after being kissed in the morning, made me want to laugh. He was simply a different person from the man who coaxed me for another round last night. After returning to the ancestral house, I took the initiative. I crouched at my grandmother's knees and sobbed softly. The two people who had been sitting upright, ready to question me, were both stunned. I looked up with tearful eyes. Grandpa and Grandma, I've been with that Shen guy for 3 years, and he actually cheated on me with his secretary. I took out the video I shot yesterday and showed it to them. Grandpa's face turned to Qing. What on earth is he? He doesn't deserve my precious granddaughter's heart. I'll ask your little uncle to teach him a lesson. I shook my head. Forget it. This is also a good thing. The earlier I find out, the earlier I can see him clearly. Now I finally understand that only family members are truly good to me. Suzuki was introduced by you, and I believe in his character. So I want to settle down early and have a great grandchild to keep you company. You won't blame me, will you? Is this the art of language? I really need to learn it. I said why he suddenly changed his attitude. It turns out he was playing at a higher level. Finally, I saw a smart person who knows how to collect evidence of infidelity. When my little uncle saw their expressions change from gloomy to cheerful, he was stunned. What? Just like that, the matter of her getting married in a flash is over? You're not going to scold her. Xiaoqing just wants us to have a great grandchild earlier. What a filial child. Why would we scold her? Unlike you, who's in your 30s and still not married. Do you want to sisu us? Seeing that he was about to lose his temper, I went through the process again and successfully soothed him. Thinking of Shen Chun and Lu Ruyan, my eyes flickered. Before leaving, I went to the study to discuss something with my little uncle. The fans of the male and female protagonists in the bullet comments were extremely angry and cursed me countless times. But they could only watch helplessly as I held the script of the vicious female supporting character and were powerless. Half a month later, I was a bit stunned when I received Shin Chen's call. Where are you? Why aren't you at home? I moved to the wedding house. What? There was a 2-second silence on the other end, and then he suddenly chuckled. Stop kidding. I've been on a business trip and neglected you these days. It's my fault. I know you're Weichik, but how can you mention breaking up casually? Let's meet later. I've brought you a gift. I was so angry that I laughed. How could someone be so brazen? Don't you know that if there's no contact for 3 days, it's considered a breakup by default? Shin Chen's tone darkened. Dear, I also gave you these half a month to calm down and reflect. We're both adults and need our own independent space. Besides, I have to work and can't accompany you 24 hours a day. The male protagonist is so ridiculous. He said he was on a business trip, but he was actually dating the female protagonist. They've been to the zoo and the amusement park. Those who know them know they're superiors and subordinates, but those who don't might think they're an affectionate couple. He talks so righteously, but he just thinks Ching is in the way of his time with Secretary Lu. This is a common trick of scumbags to shift the blame. I've really seen it now. How did such a person become the male protagonist? I'm in the business of selling Bitcoin. The price of this currency hasn't dropped, but has been rising. Great. A financial expert. We're saved. Something's not right. Ching took the initiative to break up with him. Shouldn't he be happily pursuing the female protagonist? Suzuki pushed the door open and entered with a calm expression. Mom and Dad asked us when we want to set the wedding date. I readily hung up the phone, and then clung to him like a limpet. I'll listen to you. Suzuki stared at me intently, and a glint of coldness flashed in his eyes. The sooner the better. What do you think? He put his arm around my waist, and with a turn, I was seated on his lap in a restrained position. Brother-in-law was grinding his teeth at the door just now. His fists were clenched and unclenched, afraid that his future wife would run away. Every word was a test. With this posture, I feel that if Xiaoqing refuses, she'll be, you know. Suzuki seemed calm on the surface, but in fact his entire body muscles were tensed up nervously. Wow, I heard it. No wonder he's made such rapid progress. He can even take the initiative now. I leaned close to his ear, and the fragrance of jasmine in the misty rain gently filled the air, like a budding flower swaying gently in the misty rain of the south. Husband, then I'll leave the whole wedding arrangement to you. Suzuki's ears turned red visibly. Sensing the change in the touch beneath me, I looked up at him in surprise, but my eyes were covered. A minute later, the bullet comments exploded again. Haha, I'm used to the sudden black screen. I'll give you a wedding gift, okay? Why won't you let me see it? It's not even night yet. You newlyweds are really something. Let's guess how many hours it will be this time. The couple's lips are almost worn out from kissing, and Shinshin still thinks Xiaoqing is playing hard to get. So stupid, haha. I'm already looking forward to his reaction when he finds out. On the anniversary of Aunt Lu and Uncle Zhang's marriage, I gave them a day off and drove to discuss a project myself. On the way, I passed by Shun's group. A truck was parked at the gate. As soon as I slowed down, a figure rushed out. A scream attracted the attention of the passers-by. Lu Rian fell to the ground with a pained expression. Some of the staff who knew us widened their eyes and hurried over to report the situation. I frowned and got out of the car. Are you okay? I reached out to help her up, but she slapped my hand away forcefully. Not long after, there were rapid footsteps behind me. Her eyes instantly turned red, and she took on a stubborn and pitiful posture as she accused me righteously. Miss Xiao, why did you hit me? Before I could speak, my shoulder was violently bumped, and I almost lost my balance. Shinshin silently helped her up. His eyes were full of pity, yet when he looked at me, there was a suppressed deep anger. Xiaoqing, I thought you were just arrogant and unreasonable, but now it seems you're completely vicious. How many times have I told you that Lu Rian is just my secretary? If you're angry, come at me. What's the point of taking it out on her? Have I spoiled you too much? People gathered not far away, and some even raised their mobile phones. Lu Rian grabbed his arm, her tone pleading. I'm fine. Then she looked at me again, her eyes filled with forbearance and concession. Miss Xiao, if you really can't stand me, I'll resign. Lu Rian, why would you resign when it's her who made a mistake? Because of her words, Shinshin's face became even colder, and his voice had no trace of warmth. Apologize. Wow, are these the male and female protagonists or the villains? I just wish I could slap them through the screen. What on earth? Are you crazy? Just now I thought it was a sudden dash into the road, and now I'm sure it's a pengsu. Xiaoqing is so miserable, running into such a pair of crazy people. I looked at the dash cam in the car. Lu Rian's pupils constricted suddenly, and her body went limp as if she was about to faint. Shinshin's expression turned panicked, and he picked her up in his arms. Stop. You try to run after a pengsu? Do you really think I'm a pushover? I looked around. There were many parked cars and surveillance cameras. In Lu Rian's increasingly pale face, I dialed 110. Hello. I want to report an incident of picking quarrels and provoking trouble. I declare you the savior of women's health. I won't allow anyone to oppose you. In the police station, the truth came to light. Shinshin had a complicated expression. Why did you do this? But Lu Rian lowered her eyes and remained silent, crying silently, as if she had suffered a great grievance. A glimmer of pity and reluctance flashed in his eyes. He asked for a paper cup to get her some hot water. I turned my head and asked the policeman who was watching the scene. Excuse me, how will this situation be handled? Shinshin came over to hold my hand, and his tone softened. Let's forget about this. You haven't suffered any losses. I'll ask her to apologize to you. Damn it. Both the male and female protagonists, give me the 18 dragons subduing palms. I'm a farmer. You scoundrel. Brother-in-law, come quickly. Our little doting wife has been bullied by a pair of scoundrels. How could Suzuki come? But the next second, a familiar warmth wrapped around me. It was the suit jacket I chose for him this morning. He held my palm, which was slightly cool from the air conditioner. The warm touch seemed to flow into my heart along with the surging blood. Of course you don't feel sorry because she's not your wife. Suzuki met my slightly cold gaze and gently squeezed my hand, indicating that he had everything under control. Shinshin's face changed. Who are you? I'm Suzuki, Xiaoqing's legal husband. The paper cup was crumpled into a ball, and the scalding hot water spilled on Shinshin's hand, turning a large area red, yet he seemed not to notice. Brother-in-law, why are you so gloomy? How could he be happy? Xiaoqing contacted Uncle Zhang but not him. Obviously, she didn't intend to tell him about this. So that's why. No wonder he could arrive in time. I reflected on myself a little. As a doting wife, when I'm wronged, I should look for my husband first. I'm still not qualified enough in this regard. So I made amends. Husband, luckily you're here. Otherwise, I would have been bullied to death by that couple. Suzuki, you don't know. I missed you so much today. I was going to look for you after finishing the project, but they ruined it. Husband, I'm really angry. What's the use of an apology on moments and paying money? Can you avenge me next time you get a chance? Suzuki, that's enough. I thought I had changed my opinion of her, but she still relies on men. Can't a doting wife survive without relying on a man? Relying on oneself is the biggest trap for women. Society advocates female independence. But many men rely on their families to buy cars and houses, rely on friends to introduce resources, and rely on connections to get promoted and get rich. And no one scolds them for not being independent. Instead, people envy them. Why is the attitude towards women so harsh when it comes to independence? If you can rely on others, why not? Mobilizing all the resources around you for your own use to achieve your goals is the smart way. Do you really think Sister Ching needs to rely on him? Is it possible that she's just trying to make her husband happy? Can't you see that brother-in-law is almost being coaxed into a happy state? A doting wife is someone who takes men as the center and weakens and belittles herself. In this relationship, it's clear who is more independent and at ease. Standing tall outside and acting coquettish at home to please her husband, she's clearly a strong woman. Brother Anshuang is being cold and aloof again. Sis, do you know that he was giggling at the marriage certificate in the company? Do you know that he washes your underwear by hand? Do you know that he stays up all night just to watch your sleeping face? Big sister, is this about Suzuki? During the wedding preparation period, the bullet comments kept reporting on Shen and Lu Ruyan. The originally ambiguous atmosphere between the two disappeared after this incident. Shen became affectionate again. He even called out Xiao Qing's name when he was drunk. It's like the child is dead, and now you come to nurse. Only now do you realize you've lost something. The most dramatic thing is that he mistook Lu Ruyan for Xiao Qing, and the two kissed passionately. But halfway through, Shen pushed her away. Lu Ruyan was in disbelief. Where are those people who originally scolded Xiao Qing as a doting wife, and supported the CP of the male and female protagonists? Unexpectedly, while I was watching the drama, I became the drama myself. Rumors about me were rampant on the internet. The cause was a video of Shen getting drunk and crying. Because of his good looks, it went viral again. There were a lot of people feeling sorry for him and comforting him below. Later, his friend came out to explain the situation, saying that I was a gold digger who abandoned my boyfriend, who had been kind to me for 3 years, and married a richer man instead. The video was pushed to the hot list, and my social media was also dug out. For a while, labels like money-worshipping woman, disgusting doting wife, and fake socialite were attached to me. Soon, the source of the rumors was found to be Lu Ruyan. My little uncle found out about Lu Ruyan's growth trajectory. She was a poor student sponsored by the Shen family. The two studied in the same high school. After graduation, Lu Ruyan became Shen's secretary. Shen had always been like a savior in her heart. She carefully hid her admiration. When she saw our intimate interactions, she would secretly swallow her bitter unrequited love in the corner. Until that accidental kiss, her feelings were finally noticed by Shen. My existence also made her feel uncomfortable. A series of recent failed attempts to act innocent made her become paranoid and completely hate me. She dared to do this because she was sure that I didn't have direct evidence of their affair. Instead, I got married as soon as I broke up. Even if it was finally clarified, there would still be a moral flaw. But just like an investment, we need to make risk plans. Considering these bullet comments and wondering if there would be any protagonist halo at play, it's always good to be prepared. So when I went to the ancestral house that day, I asked my little uncle to send someone to keep an eye on them. Sure enough, we got a lot. I thought they would cause more trouble, but it wasn't too much trouble after all. As expected of Sister Qing, she has the strength and means. Haha. Where are those people who originally scolded Sister Qing for being petty-minded and using dirty tricks? Your female protagonist is so kind, gentle, and lovely, like a little sun only visible to the male protagonist. Not surprisingly, the public opinion reversed very quickly, and the backlash came. Even more serious than expected. Lu Ruyan was fired and blacklisted in the industry. The Shen's jewelry industry had its heyday in the past few years. A new diamond ring symbolizing eternal love was launched under its brand. Because of the rule that one had to show their ID card, and could only buy one in a lifetime, the marketing campaign was very successful, and the brand was booming. As the brand director and spokesperson, Shen, in order to save the reputation, was kicked out of the board of directors by Zhou Shiji. Oh, he gave me one of those rings before. That day, I flushed it down the toilet. This cheap love is no different from anyone else's. Shen somehow found out my whereabouts, and even did the absurd thing of stopping my car on the street. After not seeing him for a while, he had become much thinner and haggard. When he saw me getting out of the car, a glimmer of hope flashed in his red-rimmed eyes. He raised his hand, and on his ring finger was the pair of rings I designed. Xiao Qing, look, I found it. Give me another chance, okay? Those words of mine were against my will. I've never thought you were annoying. Being with you was the most relaxing and happy time for me. Shen didn't know how those words came out under the influence of alcohol. Maybe it was what Lu Ruyan and his friends said, that being ordered around by a woman like a dog was shameful. Maybe it was his Belair vanity. Instead of complaining, it was more like showing off. But he wanted Xiao Qing to put all her love on him. In her clear and bright eyes, he was so perfect and tall. In a trance, he was no longer the weak and powerless him, when facing the illegitimate child's rise. Instead, he was the boyfriend that the omnipotent Xiao Qing relied on the most. When he went to pick her up, he casually bought a bunch of candied haws on the roadside, and Xiao Qing would exaggerate and praise his thoughtfulness and romance. When he casually gave a bottle of perfume, Xiao Qing would also carefully approve and praise his taste from the brand to the fragrance. It seemed that no matter what he did, Xiao Qing would accept it all. Her love was so inclusive that it made him swell with pride, mistaking himself for being really good and thinking that she really couldn't do without him. But in the surveillance video, he casually threw away the anniversary gift he designed with his own hands, without a trace of reluctance. His expression didn't even show a hint of sadness, as calm as if he was just throwing away a piece of garbage. This scene was like a sharp knife, repeatedly cutting open his bleeding heart. She was his woman. He was clearly about to reach the oasis, but mistook it for a mirage, and lost his last bit of fighting spirit. It was also like a diamond digger who worked hard day after day, but turned around and left at the moment closest to success. It was a pair of rings. Only he knew that for Xiaoqing, this represented the final recognition and choice. But how could he have missed it? How could he? When he was drunk, Shenshen mistook Lu Ruyan for Xiaoqing. He hugged her tightly, as if he had found something lost, and asked for a kiss. Xiaoqing, don't leave me. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have used Lu Ruyan to make you jealous. Forgive me, okay? But when he opened his eyes, he saw Lu Ruyan's tear-stained face. He doesn't want you, but I do. Shenshen, look at me, okay? I walked to your side chasing your footsteps. I'm willing to give everything for you and give up everything for you. Love me, okay? After hearing these words, Shenshen felt so disgusted that he wanted to vomit. Every time he vowed to have a pure superior subordinate relationship, and used this to mock Wu Xiaoqing for being jealous and possessive, it turned out that they exuded such a stinking and dirty atmosphere. They fooled others as if they were fools, but in the end, they only deceived themselves. Maybe my silence gave Shenshen a glimmer of hope. He opened a craft paper bag, and took out a bunch of wilted jasmine flowers from it. Give you jasmine, and wish you happiness. Damn scoundrel, what were you doing earlier? Who understands? When I saw Shenshen kissing Lu Ruyan's mouth when he was drunk, but calling out Sister Qing's name, I almost vomited at my last night's dinner. At first, I sneered at the love between the mistress and the scoundrel. Now I just want them to be together forever, and not harm Sister Qing anymore. The scenes relayed by the bullet comments refreshed my view of this ex-boyfriend again. I had a strange thought. In my next life, I want to be a man to see if not cheating will kill me. In his suddenly bright eyes, I took the bunch of jasmine flowers with a sneer, and then casually threw them into the nearby trash can in a parabolic motion. Sorry, this kind of worthless trash doesn't need to be promoted to me, right? I took out a $20 bill from my wallet, and fanned his dazed and stiff face. This money is enough to pay for your cheap errand running service, right? Please make way. I sneered and turned around. The next second, Shenshen's breath mixed with the smell of cigarettes came over. He burst into tears in a panic and tightly grabbed my wrist, his tone as low as the dust. I don't want it. I beg you. The bullet comments scrolled at a speed close to an afterimage, all sending the deepest greetings to Shenshen. But the next second, the bullet comments seemed to be pressed on pause because I gave Shenshen a neat over-the-shoulder throw. What? I thought you were a doting wife. But you know martial arts? The second rule of being a doting wife. To be a doting wife, learn kickboxing first. Every holiday, my parents would send me to a training camp. I trained and competed regardless of the weather. The risks of being a doting wife are also great. If you don't have the ability to protect yourself, aren't you at the mercy of others? In Shenshen's completely disbelieving and strange eyes I cursed. Don't you know I have a cleanliness obsession? You're like a walking garbage dump now, exuding a dirty smell all over. I've never seen anyone who cheated and still dares to pester their ex-girlfriend. How shameless are you? If you can't live, go die. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Amid his groans of pain, I grabbed his hair and slapped him on both sides of his face. Candied haws, strawberry cakes, chestnuts. Do you think I'm coveting these things? Or do you think I'm short of your few measly gifts? Do you know that with just a word from me, the mall can directly pack and deliver all the new arrivals to my doorstep? Do I need you for that? I like them only because they were given by you. Even if it was a wild flower you casually gave me, I would still be happy. Materially, I have everything. What did I expect from dating you? Just emotional value, your thoughtfulness, your sense of ceremony. But you turned around and told others that I was cheap. Shenshen knelt on the ground as if in a daze, his head hanging down dejectedly. His hands trembled as he covered his eyes, and large teardrops slipped through his fingers. I'm sorry. This is so satisfying. From today on, I won't allow anyone to oppose Sister Qing. I originally came to scold the male and female protagonists with incorrect values, but I ended up being a fan of this so-called doting wife. I'm sorry. My feelings for Xiaoqing are a bit complicated. I heard that when a woman slaps someone, the first thing she smells is fragrance. Hee, can you slap me a couple of times? Stop hitting. Sister, brother. In-law's heart is almost broken into a QR code, seeing you take the scoundrel's flowers. I looked around in surprise. Suzuki secretly followed me again. With the prompt from the bullet comments, I saw Suzuki on a bench by the riverside. The river's surface glistened in the night. The faint cold light of the street lamps elongated his shadow, making him look infinitely lonely. Amidst a chorus of expressions of pity, I stood behind him expressionlessly, crossing my arms. The atmosphere was heavy. When Suzuki heard my cold laugh, his back stiffened like a statue. I asked, "Do you like me?" His shoulders trembled slightly, but he didn't speak. I let out a soft sigh. Suzuki, I've been looking for you everywhere in high heels. My heels are blistered, my hair is messed up by the wind, and my hands hurt. It's almost autumn, with such a cold wind by the river. I'm standing here in just a thin dress, waiting for an answer from you. If you don't feel the slightest bit sorry for me, then that's it. The third rule of being a doting wife: one should have a high sense of self-worth. I think they should offer their wholehearted and most passionate love. If the other party can't do it, then leave. Don't try to change anyone. I don't want to have just sent away a lying scoundrel, and then have a reserved and affectionate lover, who can't express his feelings. If he really cares about me, why doesn't he say it? During this period, Suzuki seemed to know me very well. He also unconditionally tolerated my extremely picky living habits, which perfectly met my requirements for a husband. He even did an excellent job with the bonus items. However, whenever the topic of feelings came up, he deliberately avoided it and slipped away. He was clearly jealous of Shin-chan's entanglement with me, yet he still appeared natural and magnanimous. Although there was nothing wrong with that, as a doting wife, love comes first. I possess both decisiveness and ambition, as well as tenderness and delicacy. Precious as I am, I deserve love that can be spoken out loud, and I also deserve a husband who will stand up and knock down the scoundrel when I'm being pestered by him. I've taken the initiative. It's not me who should regret. As the jealousy grew stronger, I rubbed my arms, which were chilled by the wind, and turned to leave. Woo no. The CP I'm supporting. No. Damn it, Suzuki. Is your mouth sewn shut? Xiaoqing, I love you. Come with me. Leave him. He won't cherish you. I'm starting to have a strange sense of possessiveness towards Xiaoqing. Is this normal? There were rapid footsteps behind me. Before I could react, I was wrapped in a warm coat. Suzuki held me tightly, as if I would disappear if he let go. His nose was pressed against my collarbone. His prominent lines were particularly obvious in the dim light. Xiaoqing, I like you. A lot. I was wrong, wife. His voice was muffled and elegant. Warm liquid trickled down my collarbone. That teardrop seemed to penetrate my skin and fall into the lake of my heart, creating ripples. I reached out and hugged him. Husband, I like you very much too. Suzuki's state of being anxious and insecure not only didn't lessen, but intensified as the wedding date approached. Even the bullet comments from the omniscient perspective couldn't tell me the answer, because I was just a background character in the book, and Suzuki didn't even appear in the book at all. I didn't want to ask. I planned to wait until he was mentally prepared. But I never expected that the truth would be told to me by Shin-chan. Xiaoqing, don't be deceived by Suzuki. He's not a good person at all. He checked all your ex-boyfriends. Who knows if he interfered? The scene you saw at the club that day was also designed by him. The bastard wanted you to break up with me, so that he could take my place. What a despicable person. That day I really didn't know. Shin-chan's itinerary at the club was checked by my little uncle. Those previous ex-boyfriends who either cheated, or were about to cheat were also investigated by my little uncle. Why was it related to Suzuki? Shin-chan was still indignant. I said calmly, just tell me if you cheated or not. Shin-chan was like being splashed with a basin of cold water, extinguishing all his anger. Xiaoqing, he also lied to you. Are you so partial to him? So what? He's my husband. Who are you? I'm his wife. Tenderness and understanding are always reserved for my own people. After the call, I contacted my little uncle again. He told me the whole story with a rather guilty conscience. It turned out that the tasks given to him by my grandparents were all outsourced to Suzuki. That guy has a crush on you. Handing it over to him can ensure a more thorough check. Why not? Besides, his character is trustworthy. He won't wrong good people. Don't worry. And don't tell your parents. I hung up the phone without mercy. In the reflection of the mirror, my expression remained unchanged. Oh no. Sis won't divorce brother-in-law in a fit of anger, will she? Brother-in-law heard the whole thing at the door. He's so panicked that his eyes are red, like a puppy about to be abandoned, sensing its own fate. What brother-in-law? Don't manjiao. My wife just coaxed me last night. I thought it was a marriage of convenience first, and then love. But it turned out to be a case of a long-time crush coming true. No wonder he's so anxious and insecure. He's afraid that his wife, who he finally got, will be gone again. What will Xiaoqing do when she knows the truth? In fact, I didn't do anything. The two of us tacitly maintained the tacit understanding of not breaking the window paper. My attitude towards Suzuki remained the same as before. On the contrary, he was like having a Damocles sword hanging over his head, not knowing when it would fall. He was joy boine, emotionally fragile, and almost never left my side. Every night, he would become a shadowy creature, watching over me. Even when he was at work in the middle of the night, he would call Uncle Zhang several times to confirm my whereabouts. As soon as he got off work, he would rush home to stay with me. Every day, he would bring me a bunch of fresh jasmine flowers. After dinner, he would consciously carry me to take a bath, apply body lotion, and complete a whole set of skincare procedures. He was so eager that he seemed to want to hang colored lights on all the trees at the entrance of the villa to please me. He exuded an air of, I'm very capable. Please keep me. What's this? Is this a doting wife or an emperor? Hee, it's like the world is against me. I'm so angry that I paid off my installment huabe in advance. Believe it or not, I won't order takeout tonight, and will just stay at home all day. After Suzuki finished drying my hair, he seemed to want to say something but held back. Xiaoqing, I want to. No, you don't. He lowered his eyes, hiding the bitterness in his eyes, and forced a smile. Okay, there are still things to deal with at the company. You go to sleep first. Who knows what he was imagining? He looked like he had lost his soul. I called out to him. I remember you have a Jasmine Sun manual. What does the third item in it say? Suzuki's back trembled. Xiaoqing is afraid of the dark. He can't be left alone at night. So now you want to let the jasmine wither? My tone was accusatory. Suzuki replied reflexively. No. I pushed him onto the bed, and softly lay on his chest. Amid the accelerating heartbeat, My fingers drew circles randomly. Husband, don't you like me anymore? So the moonlight through the gauze curtain fluctuated all night as our line of sight did. Suzuki was no longer as restrained as usual. He seemed to be venting in a state of losing his mind, and also seemed to be trying to hold on. He murmured my name in my ear over and over again. The love that was usually hard to express poured out vigorously that night. It was hard to tell whether what fell on the skin was sweat or tears. Even when a real couple is in a cold war, they still have to sleep together. I thought it was going to be a disaster. Ha, scaring oneself. Hee brother. In-law is so afraid that sister will leave that he's desperately trying to please her with his body. How dare you? I'm the emperor. Order you to remove the black screen. It's really causing a commotion. 2 days before the wedding, I told Suzuki that I would take him to a place. On the way, he was silent, and his face was as pale as if he was going to the execution ground. When we arrived, he moved his body stiffly, but he froze the moment he looked up. This isn't the marriage registration office. I feigned shock. Suzuki, do you want to divorce me? I don't. After seeing my expression change from anger to a smile, he finally realized that he had been tricked. He managed a forced smile as if he had survived a disaster, but the next second his eyes turned red. Wife, are you trying to kill me? His suppressed sobbing made me soften my heart instantly. I stepped forward and hugged him. Don't cry. We still have an interview later. When? Of course, it's the interview about your years-long crush on me. During the previous public opinion storm, I was the one who benefited the most. As a strong and pitiful victim, netizens' sympathy and favor for me reached a peak in an instant. The label of being bold in love and hate also became well known. Taking advantage of the fact that the diamond ring brand of the Shen family was in the midst of a public opinion storm, I targeted the best opportunity to promote the jewelry design studio I had just invested in. I was quickly announced as the spokesperson and launched the Brave to Love series of jewelry from a female-centered perspective. With the help of the natural popularity, it gained popularity. I held Suzuki's face in my hands and said seriously, I plan to be an excellent doting wife. You're the husband I carefully selected. I don't plan to change. You'd better tell everyone how much you love me. If you do something to betray me in the future, just wait to be ruined both in reputation and in life. Under my intimidation, Suzuki slowly smiled. After watching his interview, the bullet comments went crazy. I looked away. When I saw a photo album Suzuki handed me, I was slightly stunned. It was the logo of the familiar training camp. The slightly chubby little boy in the middle of the photo also looked a bit familiar. The long-forgotten memory pieces were gradually piecing together. At that time, I was only 9 years old. I had just defeated the previous champion in the training, and couldn't wait to find a corner to share this good news with my parents. But I saw several little boys bullying a little fat boy. With an unprecedented sense of superiority, I naturally chose to come to the rescue, vowing to defeat them in the competition. In the subsequent final, I did indeed beat them, but the little fat boy didn't show up. I didn't even know his name. Back then, my grandfather was seriously ill, and I was arranged by my parents to study abroad. But I knew that you would definitely win this competition, he solemnly declared, as if making a vow, and gently kissed my forehead. I always remember that you've always been the guiding light for me. He slightly furrowed his brows. Wow. If someone had stood in front of me like that when I was a kid, I'd remember him for the rest of my life. The seemingly delicate person being protected actually has a strong and stable core. He shines just by standing there. And the boy who was illuminated also developed the courage to move forward firmly. I declare that in this novel, you two are the real protagonists. Suzuki and I successfully held a grand wedding with Jasmine as the theme, which he personally planned and arranged. During the oath-taking, 2 beautiful butterflies landed on the bouquet. My grandparents in the audience had already red eyes. In a moment of daze, one of them landed on my palm. Tears instantly blurred my vision. I held back the sourness in my nose and gently raised the corners of my lips. When I was a child, I took you as an example and proudly said that I wanted to be a doting wife who was envied by others. Many years later, I realized that it's the sense of happiness from the bottom of my heart that makes people envious. The rules of being a doting wife that you taught me are actually the secrets to happiness. The end.